Let's bring in an expert panel. Jeff Schuster, President, America's Operations and Global Vehicle Forecast, LMC Automotive. Tyson Jominy, VP, Data and Analytics at J.D. Power. Tyson, I'll start with you. What do the analytics say?
Well, recently sales have been going fairly strong, Nicole. In fact, things could probably be even better if we had any more inventory in the U.S. But as it is, we've sold out of most of our vehicles, both on the new and used side. And so inventory's been holding us back a little bit. Looking at what Tesla announced yesterday, while it was big on a lot of promises and a lot of technologies in the future, we are probably looking at several years before most of what they talked about yesterday is actually going to materialize in the U.S. market.
Jeff, what do you make of it? I mean, I know that demand has certainly been evident during COVID. People are rushing. They bought new homes. They need more cars. That's evident. Year over year, though, I'm not sure that it's so great. Now what, especially if we don't have a big supply? Jeff?
Yeah, no question about it. I think the market overall has exceeded expectations, certainly from where we were back in April when we first had the hit from COVID and pulled the forecast down. So consumers are resilient. They're behaving in a way that we didn't expect, frankly. And I think when you look at the level of pent-up demand, there were thoughts that maybe it was over already. That's just not the case. I think Tyson pointed out the inventory situation is certainly still extremely low. We're at a 9-year low in inventory levels here in the U.S. Really don't see that improving this year. So that inventory, that shortage, that choice shortage is still going to be with us through the remainder of the year and probably into next year. So yeah, the overall expectation this year, the market's down, not quite 20%. So it's coming off of a 17 million unit year last year. Next year, we do see an increase and the numbers keep going up. So we're trucking our way back to where we were pre-COVID.
Right. Jeff, I'll start with you on this topic, and that is EV. Do you think there's a lot of hype?
Overall, yeah, I do. I think, and I'll qualify that because I think when you look at it, there's no question the market is moving in this direction. The question really is, at what point does it hit the mass market? And I think there's some roadblocks ahead of that. Infrastructure, price, we saw that addressed yesterday with the battery price, trying to get the price down on batteries, the range extended. And those are the major factors holding consumers back. The other one is choice. There really hasn't been a massive amount of choice out there in terms of vehicles that consumers want, meaning SUVs. So I think as we start to see those penetrate and launch into the marketplace, we will see improved behavior, improved activity in BEVs, that's electric vehicles. They're outperforming the overall market so far this year from a percent decline. But keep in mind, last year they only accounted for 1.5% of the U.S. market. So there's a lot of room to grow.
Right.
It's going to take some time.
We talk about them every day like they're 100% of the market. Tyson, I know you know that to be true, that the electric vehicle market is such a small portion of the whole thing. Are you a believer in these companies, Tesla and the rest of them on the list? You can name some names or find some data that you want to put with it. What are your thoughts, Tyson?
Well, if you weren't a believer, maybe the stock prices of some of these automakers is trying to make you one. Tesla had their big day yesterday. The stock is down today, as we've seen. But the big news from today is Volkswagen's ID.4 that they launched right around $40,000. And that has taken over my Twitter timeline today. So everyone seems to be fairly excited by that. And to the earlier point here by Jeff, the EV market has a lot of potential to go, but it still is 1.6%. And, what is it that we really want? We want trucks and SUVs. The truck and SUV market this year was approaching 80% of sales. I mean, that's the number of dentists that recommend Dentine gum, 4 out of 5. How big is that? And we don't have a lot of those SUVs and trucks, EVs yet. They're coming, and that's where we're really going to test how badly consumers want EVs. But as of now, they're stuck at 1.6% of the retail market in the United States.
Yeah, Tyson, just give me a hint here on some of the trends. What's the takeaway? If someone says, what's going on in the auto industry? I mean, is it the big three? Is it the Carvana used sales? Is it AutoZone and people getting parts for their old cars? What are some of the takeaway trends? Quickly, Tyson.
You're going to see very strong performance from almost all aspects of the auto industry right now. OEMs are going to have a fantastic second half of the year. Dealers are reporting record earnings. Everyone seems to be winning with one exception, which is buyers. They're paying so much more this year. They're paying about 7% more in transaction prices. So there's a lot of winners out there. But if you're going to be in the market for a new car or truck, be prepared to spend a little more than you have in the past.
Interesting. Jeff, what's your takeaway? The broad picture here.
I think the broad picture is better performance. We're going to see the market recover. Everything's going to come back to what is a new normal. And I think we can thank consumers for continuing to spend in that space.
You know what I also think is interesting, and you brought this up in your notes, Tyson, and you could both comment, but we're not going to see, you talk about higher prices, right? I had a friend get a call from Infiniti, and they said, please bring back your old Infiniti. We'll give you a new one for next year where you don't even have enough used cars on the lot. It's interesting because you said the prices are going up. But the big picture and the takeaway here is that you're not going to have, you didn't have Labor Day or Thanksgiving or Black Friday. How is it going to work without that? Do they even need that to do well?
Well, incentive spend has certainly been falling. In fact, incentive spend last month was down year over year for the first time in 16 months. So the automakers are not really needing to spend to get people back. But expect to see a lot more of these offers from dealers. Bring your car in because dealers need used cars very badly. You may not be able to find exactly what you're looking for on the lot, but you probably will get a good value on your trade-in.
Jeff, I'll give you a final thought. I'm still thinking about Nikola and GM. There's just not enough. We need a whole hour for this. Jeff, what's your last 10-second takeaway?
10-second takeaway. Again, I think when you look at the EV space, especially a lot of announcements over the last couple of weeks. Watch the substance, though. This is still a buzz-friendly area. Lot to launch. There's a lot of vehicles coming. So we're going to see more than 100 EVs on the market in the next couple of years.
Wow. And Tyson mentioned the Volkswagen today, which I know you're both familiar with. Exciting stuff. Great to have this conversation with you both. Thanks to our panel. Jeff Schuster, President, America's Operations and Global Vehicle Forecast, LMC Automotive. Tyson Jominy, VP, Data and Analytics at J.D. Power. Great conversation about autos.